Next to aim and movement, there are two main skills that are just as important: information and decision making. And when we talk about information, a lot of times we're talking about UAVs. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 7 most common fatal mistakes I see players make when they're using their UAVs that's costing them a lot more than they think it is. It's time to get good.
Now, this video's title is about UAVs, but that's not the only way to get information, especially in the early game when we don't have them. So I'm going to talk a lot about other stuff that's related to information, but mistake number 1 with UAVs is cash flow. A lot of players use one UAV for 1 kill, and we could talk about like how you get the money to get the UAV and then how you use the UAV afterwards, but mistake number 1 is how we get our UAVs. You need to make sure that you're constantly chaining together UAVs. If you don't get enough cash, you're not gonna be able to do that. You need cash flow. So how do we get cash flow? We get the ball rolling by doing contracts. That's why I preach contracts, 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 contracts. Start every single game with a scavenger contract. And then in the mid game, we want to be completing as many of those as we possibly can so that we have enough money to just constantly have UAVs up. You'll notice with really good players, they always, always, always have a UAV in their pocket or in the air all the time. So one thing I want to talk about real quick as we're landing in here on the UAV or on the scavenger contract, I'm perfectly planning out my drop. So I'm going to back it up just a second here. I was actually zooming in. Bang. Now I know that the contract is on the outside of the building. Perfectly planning your drops is one of the biggest tips I can give you, especially if you're more of a beginner to average player. Like, you can practice your early game way more than you're going to be able to practice your end game, so perfect your early games. First step to that is identifying which contract we want and then figuring out exactly where it is in our mind, right? Like, if we just looked at the map right here, we would have no idea where the UAV or the scavenger contract is, right? We would have no idea. But by zooming in, now I have an advantage on the people landing with me, right? Because I know that it's on the outside of the building, and you're going to see that come into play here in a second. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the content, I know Warzone's kind of in a, we're in the COD cycle right now. If you guys are enjoying this stuff, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe. It helps a ton. So as we're landing in, I obviously know this is on the outside of the building. This guy probably didn't know that it was on the outside of the building, right? Like most players, they just get off their phone and then they're like, I'm going to drop for this contract. Okay, it's over here. And then he's probably figuring out that this scavenger contract is on the outside right now, right? And so just by establishing and knowing where that's at, I'm able to get there a little bit faster than this guy, which is going to come into play. So piece of information right there. I see him landing in with me. I start with good centering. You notice how I pause a little bit here? I get good centering, get 2 shots off. But what's really, really, really important with this pistol when you land in is you only have 8 rounds. And so you have to make every single one count. And so I get two shots, and then I want to make sure that I hit the rest of my 5. Otherwise, this guy's going to get the contract, and then I'm going to reload. It's going to get hairy. So I make every bullet count here. Hear another guy landing in. As we hear him landing in, he cuts shoot. He lands on this little ledge right here. So I know that I need to run away. Plate up, dive out the window. I hear concrete to my right, and I also hear above me. And so now I know that there's 2 players here. I just want to start playing my life. Just want to be a hard target, use all my cover. I get, behind a nice, safe piece of cover. I'm plating up. I'm doing everything I can to play my life. And then I hear that these guys are fighting. If we look up at the map here, we got 2 guys fighting on the other end of this building. And so that's an opportunity for me to third party. And because I know and I hear a chest nearby, I know there's guns. Right? And so I heard pistol shots. There's 2 guys fighting. They're going to be weak. If I just play really fast and really aggressive here, slide out with good centering, pre-fire, easy. Nice little double kill to start the game. We got the contract. We got there first. We knew where the contract was. We played our life. We got a gun. All of these little teeny tiny things add up to a good early game, right? Like, had you been one of those guys that didn't plan out your drop, you would have been that bot skin that was landing in with me, not knowing where the contract was. All these little things give you a little bit of an advantage. And those are the things that I'm planning, I'm thinking about as I'm dropping in. Okay, so let's get this contract done. I thought I saw something on the roof here. I'm just going to skip a little bit ahead here. Trying to get this scabby done. As I'm rotating out here, see this guy landing in. See him landing in. Want to make sure that I'm giving myself the best opportunity to kill this guy, right? I don't want to be stuck behind that metal pole, so I just wait for him to be out in the open.
Enemies are dropping into the area.
Easy. Now, he was looking this way, and so I was a little bit concerned that maybe someone was shooting at him over there. I don't know. Just something, one little teeny piece of information that I was gathering from that was like, hey, he turned around. Maybe he was getting shot at. Maybe he knew there was something behind, and that's just something I was putting in the back of my head. Alrighty, finish up this scav. Now we have 12 grand. So off to a great start right away. Scavenger contract done. I've already got one contract completed that's going to increase my multiplier over here. We're just going to be able to start chaining together contracts, getting a ton of cash to pop UAVs later in the game. But right now, what this enables me to do is get my loadout for 6 grand and get a UAV for 6 grand. And I was thinking that right here, like, all right, cool, got enough money. Now I'm trying to figure out where I want to go, right? So if you saw this on your map, where would you be thinking about going, right? Just give you a second. We're trying to get loadout down. Once we get loadout down, we're going to be in the mid-game phase of the game, right? And so I'm thinking if I get loadout down here, that means I'm also going to be in the mid-game phase, which will allow me to start doing more contracts. And so you could argue, like, this could take us to a different side of the map. The only thing I want you to be thinking about is multitasking here, right? Like, we're getting loadout down. I'm going to be in the mid-game phase once I get loadout down. Let's also try to put ourselves in the position of getting a contract as well. And so I was thinking loadout, bounty. You could also think loadout, bounty. But either way, just pointing out what my thought process was there. Okay, and so that was mistake number 1. We talked about not having enough cash flow. If you want to be popping UAVs, you need to have the cash for them. We're also going to talk a little bit later about how we use the UAV that also impacts our cash flow. So you have the way that you get the cash and then the way that you spend the cash. Another mistake that people make is they use the UAV the wrong way. A lot of people, they just use the UAV for 1 kill. Back in the day, back in OG Warzone, you might be able to do that. You might be able to get away with doing that because kills would give you more cash. But right now, if I use the UAV on 1 guy and then that's it, it's a gigantic waste of money. And so we want to make sure that we're using the UAV for as many objectives, as many kills, as many contracts as we possibly can. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. As I'm pulling up to get a UAV right now, or get my loadout, this car pulls up, so I use my Molotov, I play my cover. He gets out behind this car, right? We talked about in one of our recent videos, sweats love to use cars. And so I see the Groot skin. This guy's been playing a long time, right? Like it's an MW3 skin. He's using the car. He does a really good job hand braking it this way, and now he's using it as cover. From my perspective, like, yes, I have first shots on this guy, but he's got great cover, okay? And so I need to find myself cover. So I immediately slide over to the right, play the rock. I use all the things to my disposal. Throw another Molotov on the car. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the kill. I'm a little bit upset about it, but we did a really good job playing our life, playing our cover. We were conscious of how we were being perceived, right? Made sure we got down to a good piece of cover. Still wasn't able to get the kill there. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I go for my 8 attachment loadout here because I'm trying to level up my Dresden, and also I have a gold Dresden. So I was like, all right. Whenever possible, I try to use my 8 attachment AR, especially on Verdansk. Actually didn't get my UAV right there. Part of that was because, you know, there was a guy pushing me. I'm still conscious of the fact that he's pushing me again, right? Another piece of information. We're going to talk about other ways to get information. One, we're on a UAV right now. If you guys didn't know, when there's a red box around your map, you know you're on UAV. But I was also conscious of that Sweat was trying to kill me earlier. He just got out at the buy station. So we got one guy on the buy station with a car. I know that he's a decent player just because of the way he was playing. And I also know if we look up the minimap here, we got one guy that's up by the house above us, way up high, right? And so that's another, you know, way of getting information. Whenever you hear shots or whenever you get out of gunfights, check your minimap. I'm going to do an eye tracker video soon just to show you guys how much I check my minimap. I promise you, good players are probably checking their minimap 5 times more than you are. I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but I'm being very serious. Okay, so we get our bounty. Wasn't able to get our UAV earlier, but we're grabbing a bounty because, A, we want to try and scale our cash flow, right? Like, completing another contract's going to give us a better multiplier.
Primary objective
it's going to give us more cash. Unfortunately, it gets poached, and I was trying to decide whether or not I wanted to go third party the guy that poached it, but we get shot at, and what do you know? The guy that we were fighting earlier still trying to track us down. And so now I'm like, all right, this guy ain't going to give it up. Excuse me. That guy ain't going to give it up, so I'm just going to be a hard target here. First step, whenever you see a sniper or whenever you're getting sniped at, is immediately, 1, be a hard target, 2, assess where it's at, and then 3, make a smart decision. So be a hard target, figure out where it's at, make a smart decision. So the smart decision I make here is once I know that he, like we back up just a little bit here, if it'll let me. Once I realize that this guy's going to lose me, right? Like he's going to lose sight of me on this. He's going to lose sight of me on this. He's going to lose sight of me on this. I can pop up from a completely different angle, right? And so you have to understand how you're being perceived. Part of like, there's the information part, and then there's the decision making that comes with it. That's why I say there's like 4 main skills: aim, movement, information, decision making. We have the information of what's in front of us. Now what do we do with it, right? I understand how I'm being perceived by this guy, right? Like I'm putting myself in his shoes. He's going to see me disappear behind this, and he's going to have 0 information, right? So if he has 0 idea where I am and I know exactly where he is, that's a gigantic advantage for me. And so you're going to see me use that to my advantage. I'm going to pop up from a different angle. It's the reason I open the door instead of slamming through it, is because I'm trying not to give him my audio cues, right? Now, I'm crouching, right? Trying not to give up my audio cues. I know that I can't peek. I know that I can't peek the house from that window because it just doesn't have a good angle. Also, we knew there was a guy up here earlier, right? And so before I do what I'm about to do, I check to make sure he's not up there, okay? And so now we get to the roof. I get myself to a good spot. And what do you know? This guy doesn't know I'm here, right? And you might be like, oh, how did you know he was there? Okay. If a sniper shoots at you from a house, right? Like if a sniper shoots at you from this house, regardless of what you've seen, regardless of the information, where is he most likely to go? Like if you've played this house, 99% of the time, someone's going to be in this window, right? And so this guy keeps chasing me down. He's not leaving me alone. I know he doesn't know where I'm at. So because I'm able to hide myself, I have the information to know where he's at. I just make an educated guess on where this guy is. I wait for him to, I have a little bit of trigger discipline here. I wait for him to make a mistake by standing still.
Reloading.
Get a good kill. Got a little bit lucky there. He didn't react very quickly to that. But all of these little tiny decisions make a huge difference. You know what also makes a difference? Having a pro controller. If you guys are in the market for a pro controller, check out Scuff. Link in the description. Code Berger. All that good stuff. All right. Now we're finally getting our UAVs flying. Pick up a UAV here. Do I want to pop it? Not really. Because there's not a lot happening around me, right? Like I landed here. I've kind of already cleared out most of this area. If I'm going to use my UAV, I want to at least go to an area that I haven't been yet because I'm more likely to see people on that UAV. So that's going to bring us to mistake, I guess, number 3 using UAVs is when you pop them, right? If you're constantly just buying a UAV and then immediately popping it, you're leaving a lot of time on the table. The UAV only gives you a couple pulses, right? It only lasts for a little bit amount of time. You want to make sure that you're squeezing as much information out of that UAV as you possibly can. And so we want to be efficient with how we use it. I don't want to pop it in an area that I've already got. I already have 4 kills, right? I don't want to pop it over here because I'm more likely to have killed 4 people out of the maybe 5 that landed here, right? And so I'm going to take the UAV somewhere else, then pop the UAV. As we're pushing over here, you guys might not have saw it, but we just saw a guy running right to left into this house. So I pull up on the house. I hear him on the outside of the house still. I'm hearing grass footsteps. Let's back it up. He's chasing down the car. Now listen, you're going to hear grass footsteps running from right to left. So what does that tell us? He's still on the outside of the house. And so I'm going to use that information to center my crosshair where I'm most likely to see this guy. If you can picture in your mind, if you know this building, there's only really 2 places this guy can pop up. There's going to be a door right here and then a window to the left of the bathroom. So I need to do a good job of not giving up this power position, right? Like I have a good power position. He has to come to me if he wants to kill me. He has to come inside this building if he wants to stay safe. I don't want to give this up for free, right? And so I'm just going to pre-aim where I think I'm most likely to see him. Now, I also thought there was another person here. I don't remember exactly how I knew that. Let me back up. I might have heard him. I'm trying to remember. I just got done playing this game like 20 minutes ago.
Changing max.
Yep, right there. Right there we heard like a little slide or something. I don't even know what that cue was.
Changing mags.
Yeah, there's some sort of slide. And now we hear like the dun 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 dun. He's crawling up here, or like crouched up here. Right? You can hear the wooden footsteps. I do this all the time with my grenades. If you've watched any of my videos, you've probably seen me do this in every single one of my videos. I need to work on that. I always throw the impact grenade in my own face. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is make this guy second guess. You know, he knows I'm underneath him, right? And so I just open up that door to try and cause an audio cue for him. Also, want to point out real quick, we got a four-wheeler pulling up, piece of information. Thought I heard him on grass outside for a second. Get rid of this guy, immediately back up, right? Because if that guy is on the outside, I don't want to get caught. Then I hear him make wooden footstep sounds. Slide with good centering. Aim has not been the greatest lately. I'm gonna be honest, guys. My aim has been struggling. I'm back on an aim training routine. I've been playing some Battlefield. Haven't been playing a lot of COD in general recently. Working on Bots Pro 3 videos, all that stuff. So, got to get grinding on the aim again. All right, so we pop UAV. I immediately pop the UAV, get into the car, and make a decision and go. So we got to make quick decisions, right? I barely look up at my minimap here. We see two guys over here. I immediately just make the decision. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to ping this. I'm going to drive towards it. The ping is going to kind of help me get into the area that I want to get into. I'm also going to pick up another UAV here. Accidentally by a precision. But I pick up another UAV to be efficient, right? Like, I don't want to have to keep stopping at buy stations. When I'm already next to a buy station, I'm just going to make sure I have another one in my pocket. So one of the reasons I also pick green ping is because there's two players that are very close to each other. In an ideal world, I want to pick up both of those kills, right? And so I want to make sure I get over there as soon as I can. One thing I want you to pay attention to, I use two pings here. So I actually picked this up from Expel, if you guys know Expel. Shout out Expel. If you double ping, it'll danger ping, and that ping will stay, right? And so I wouldn't call this a mistake, but it's a tip that I'll give you. If you want to figure out where more players are, if you want to make it easier for you to remember where more players are, you can use a normal ping, a danger ping, and then hopefully in your head, remember another location that somebody is. And so while I'm driving over here, I actually remember, okay, there's one over at military base in the hangars. I got two guys on green ping, and then danger ping also has another guy. So rather than just focusing on one player, I now know where there are four players without having to look at my map. So that won't be a mistake. That won't be a mistake that will count as like mistake number 4, but that'll be just a tip that I give you guys. Okay, so why do I just continue to drive here, right? Like we run over a bot. This is not casual, by the way. We run over a bot. Why do I continue to drive rather than fighting the guy behind me? He's not on my minimap anymore. That means he's dead, right? If he's not on my minimap, it means he's dead. You can be like, oh, he's ghosted. I have Bird's Eye. Bird's Eye tells me where everyone is, even including ghost players. Okay. So, run over the guy. We know the other guy's dead. There's only one more in front of me. I use my danger ping. I know he's right here. Triggered his plane. Wait for him to come outside. Bada bing, bada bang. Bada bing, bada bang. All right, so what do we do now? What do we do now? We've already popped a UAV over in this location, right? So that'll be mistake number 4 is don't pop 2 UAVs in the same location for the most part. There's going to be a little bit of an asterisk to that. Sometimes if you run into a good player and you need immediate information, sometimes it's okay to pop the UAV. But right now we want to go to a different location and pop this UAV. Because I've already cleared out, let's say, for the most part, I've cleared out this kind of area. And so if I pop my UAV, I'm only going to get like this much information, right? That's a gigantic waste of our UAV. So rule number 4, mistake number 4, don't pop your UAV in the same location twice. Asterisk, right? Another piece of the cash flow is, you know, I'm looting those bodies. I'm just kind of running back over here to make sure that there's loot. Pick up 2 bags. That's immediately a free UAV for an extra 4 seconds, maybe, of work. Also, remember that stuff is there. It's going to come into play later on. Okay, so in the spirit of going somewhere else, I'm also like, what else can I do, right? Like, I already looked at the map. There were no contracts. I want to multitask. Multitask, multitask, multitask. This is something you'll see a lot of great players do. They're always like juggling a couple different things. I know that I want to go somewhere else when I pop this UAV. While I'm doing that, I can also put myself in a position to get more cash, right? And so I'm driving all the way over here. Yes, I'm stretching a little bit for a contract, but that contract is going to pay us off later on in the game, right? Because if we complete that, we'll get a higher multiplier. And then we're also completing the objective of like, hey, we're going to go somewhere else and pop this UAV. Quick little tip. Whenever you see loadouts, try to look up at the sky, see how many are dropping in. That'll tell you relatively, very roughly how many people are around you, right? And so I know that there's at least one guy somewhat around me, right? I actually thought about grabbing another loadout here, but my SMG, I don't have an 8 attachment Dresden right now because I don't have a level up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to save this loadout for later. Just in case I die. All right, back up just a little bit more here. There's a car on the buy station, and there's also a loadout drop right next to me. And so those two pieces of information kind of tell me to like, hey, I'm just going to keep an eye on this. I'm just going to keep an eye on this. If I see anything, then I'll, attack it, right? Because I'm really close to it. I had my eyes up on the minimap. Immediately that car turns red that was on the buy. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to see if I can get an easy kill here. Tracking could have been a little bit better. Tracking could have been a little bit better there. I don't think I was going to get the kill anyways. I also heard shots. As I was getting in the car, I heard shots. Turn around, there's a guy in front of us. This is that same group skin from earlier. And so I do the same thing he did. I told you guys in that How to Beat Sweats video, a lot of sweats will use cars and they'll handbrake and then use the car as a piece of cover, which is the same thing I'm doing, same thing he's doing there. Try to put some shots on his car just to slow him down a little bit later on. I wasn't actually trying to do damage. I was trying to do damage to his car. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not going to chase this guy. Let's go somewhere else. All right, like, that's going to be way too much of a time investment in an area that I've already been. Let me go do something else. A lot of times, and this is a mistake that I have to work on as well. Like, you can get stuck. If you chase a fight for too long, and a lot of times it'll end up being against a good player. Like, sometimes I'll just leave a sweaty fight because I know that it's going to take me too long. It's going to take too much effort. It's going to be too much risk when I could spend that time getting 3 or 4 more kills or 3 or 4 more objectives done. Now, we started to get into a new area over here, right? Like I told you earlier, we've kind of popped here, right? And so the second I kind of get out of that range, I start popping my UAV on the way to the bounty because I know that I'm going to pick up a lot of what's over here on my way. Now, had I only had enough money for this one UAV, I probably would have held onto it for a little longer. But notice how, like I said earlier, we're danger pinging, right? I'm danger pinging to let myself know, like, hey, later on in the game, there's going to be more players at Quarry, right? Soaking up as much information as I possibly can. Whenever you have your UAV up, this is like, in my coaching, I see one of the biggest mistakes people make with UAVs is they don't soak up as much of the information as they possibly can. And so that'll be mistake number 5 is when you have the UAV up, look at your big map. Don't just look up at the mini map. Look at your big map. When you're driving, you need to be able to multitask. Like, you need to be able to drive at the same time and look at this big map. Because if you're not soaking up as much of that information as you can, you're never going to get enough kills to pay off the reason for using the UAV in the first place, right? Like, if I just drove over here to get 1 kill, that's ultimately a waste. Now, I'll talk about what happens here in a second. We talked about, this video is about mistakes, right? And I end up making a mistake right here. I know some of you guys don't like when I spoil things that are about to happen, but for the sake of explaining what goes on here, I want to explain my mistakes. I'm going to do something a lot of creators, a lot of streamers don't do. I'm going to show you my mistake, and I'm going to explain what I did wrong, how I can fix it, what I'm going to try to do moving forward. So, we'll back it up just a little bit here. Okay, so if we look up at the minimap, we got 2 red dots that are above me. Now, I am all the way, like, I'm basically in the basement of police, if there was a basement, right? Like, I'm down here. I don't know how to explain this, but, like, I'm below the police station. So, everything is above me at this point, right? But it's telling me that there's 2 people on the left side of police up high. Okay, and so I can kind of read that a little bit. You might not be able to see that on YouTube, but those dots are still up high. And so I know that there's 2 players on the back side of police up high. So there's no one on first floor. That means there's probably 1 here and then 1 here, because otherwise they'd be fighting. I'd be hearing shots. They'd be shooting each other. And so the mistake I make here is not reading my minimap properly. This is kind of a hard minimap to read. Like, and I don't mean literally looking at it. I mean in terms of like what those red dots actually mean. The mistake that I make here is I see those red dots right on top of each other, but I don't hear gunshots. And there's no way that there would be two players on top of each other with no gunshots unless they were teaming, which they're not, right? And so I should have known here that there was one second floor and then one all the way on the roof. You're going to see right here, I didn't notice that there's a guy all the way on the roof here. Now, unfortunately, I'm also getting shot from the back here. You might have just saw that tracer run by our screen. I wanted to chow this from the left, but because I was getting sniped, I knew that I needed to play up a little bit. And so that a lot of this stuff happens really fast and in real time. But the point is I make the mistake of not reading my minimap properly and then also get a little bit unlucky with the guy shooting me from behind. So the reason I make that mistake is because I'm assuming that he's going to be here, right? Like I'm reading the minimap as if they're both second floor, but we know that there's one third floor. And so this is a really bad chow, right? This is a really bad chow. This guy does a good job of like playing aggressive and reading the car and he centers well. But really this was my fault because there can't be two people on the second floor right on top of each other. I know that's kind of a long-winded explanation, but I needed to explain why that was a mistake. Just goes to show, everybody makes mistakes. You even hear me get upset about it. But the mistake is over. What do we do from here, right? Let it be. Forget about it. We got to move on to the next one. Because we're going into the gulag, I got to lock in here and focus up. My strat is basically always the same. Knife out, pick a side, listen for audio cues. Really bad centering out of me. Centering should have been here, and then I would have been able to flick down. But because I noticed that my centering isn't great, I just decided to use the piece of cover. I peek back out with good centering. Try to bounce a nade on the right side. So now I've eliminated, he's not going to the middle. He's not going to the right. I was going to chow left, but I get really unfortunate timing on a grenade here. Play my smoke. We talked about earlier, or not earlier, in one of our recent videos, I think it was the one where I kill Iron, right? Like in that video, when one player sees you going one direction, a lot of times it's a really good idea to go the other direction. You'll see me use this all the time to trick people. All the time. I will catch people either sprinting or crouching or doing something other than pre-aiming me because they see me going one direction and all of a sudden I come back from the other direction and they're not ready for it. So if we back up just a second here, right? Like this guy is going to see me go this way. He's going to see me go to the right. I'm going to very quickly come back to the left, and that's going to give me preem advantage because right now he has the advantage, right? Like my gun is pointing down here and he's aiming right at me. Like you can literally see he's ADSing at me. And so the way to create a first shots advantage is to use a little bit of misdirection. So I go right, come back left with good centering. Dead. Okay, so we win our gulag. We got 10 kills. This game's off to a pretty good start. Remember earlier. How do I want to explain this? There's no really good way to say this, so I'm just going to say it. The reason I sort of paused and pointed out that we had stuff over here earlier is because I'm remembering that information. The better you get at Warzone, the less you're having to think about your hands, the less the less nervous you are, the less you're thinking, the more you're able to think about what's actually happening in the game. And the more information you're actually able to remember. And so a lot of times you'll see me make decisions based on information from a really long time ago in the game, especially when it comes to UAVs. We'll talk a little bit more about that way later in the video towards the end game. But I remembered earlier that I killed players over here, and I also have loadout. And so when we're in the regain phase, the goal is to immediately get back into the game as soon as possible, right? Like that's our main goal. It's like the early game. Just get loadout, immediately get back into the flow, right? Because we're trying to get aggressive. We're trying to get kills. We don't want to take too long to get our stuff.
Do this.
So I get my loadout, and I remember that there was stuff behind me. So I come back over there. Right, like we ran over the guy that was on the tree, and we knew that there was stuff in the second floor as well. And the reason I point this out is because this is huge. I'm able to get a satchel off of this decision. Now I don't have to go to the buy station and get plates. I can just push a fight. right? I don't know why that jump spot didn't work. Usually it does. That stuff despawned. I don't know why the stuff on the grass didn't despawn and the stuff in the second floor did despawn because they both died at the same time. Can't explain that one to you, but it is what it is. All right, so we're immediately, like, within maybe 30 seconds, we go from dead in the gulag to regaining to now we're right back into the mix. All of that just because we made 2 smart decisions. We left our loadout earlier because I didn't need it. And then we also remembered information, like the people that I killed earlier. So now we're back into the mid-game phase. I want to continue doing contracts. If you notice, I've picked up 2 other contracts since I did the first one, but I haven't been able to complete them, right? Because we died. So, 1 got poached, and then 1, we died. So, got to get our cash flow going. I always try to say do at least 3 to 4 contracts every game if you want to have enough cash flow. I'm going to back up here just for a second. One more piece of information. Also, back it up even more. One piece of information is this, right? We see that is a bunker buster, and so that tells me that there's something going on over there. That is one tiny little piece of information. Just want to point that out. That sound oftentimes is like a stun grenade or a smoke grenade or a loadout drop. I couldn't tell where that was coming from, but immediately that, in my mind, I was like, oh, that's a loadout drop. And so where do my eyes go? Right here. And sure enough, you see the loadout smoke. We see this coming in. What does this mean? That means there's a guy getting loadout. There's a guy getting loadout over here. I might be able to catch him. You know, if he plays too slow, I might be able to catch him on the loadout box, right? So as long as I move really fast here with my knife out, I might be able to catch this guy. I want to point out, whenever we hear unsuppressed shots, we look up at our mini-map. Now I know there's a guy above me. I see tracers. I see tracers going this way, and so that tells me that he's not on his loadout anymore. He's back here to the right. So because I saw the tracers, there's a loadout there. He's getting shot at. The tracers are farther to the right. That, in my mind, was telling me, hey, this guy's either running inside this door over here, like back here, or he's running around the building. And so I put myself in the building, and then we hear a guy crawling around. Listen. So we hear a guy, we hear concrete footsteps, a guy running, and then right here in this corner, I hear a guy crouching around. So now, just based on looking up at our minimap, reading what's happening, now I know that there's 3 people here, right? We got 1 on the hill, we got 1 in this corner real close to us, and then 1 that's weak running inside. And so when there's 3 people right around me, especially in Battle Royale, especially in solos, I have to slow down. I have to play smart. I have to play almost defense because I don't want to get third-partied here. So that, I'm setting all that up because of the way that I end up playing this. Slide out with good centering. We got this guy looking at us and this guy looking at us. How are they not shooting each other? I don't know. Are they teaming? Probably not, but I don't know how these guys didn't see each other. Maybe I just caught bad timing. Is what it is. The second I see this, I just bail. I just bail. Now, what is the guy... What is the worst case scenario here for me? The worst case scenario is that guy that was laying down chases me, right? Because I'm really weak. What's also the next worst case scenario? The next worst case scenario is the guy that was up here rotating down. And so you're going to see me play very quick, very defensive. I almost think of it like playing really tight. I'm playing really tight to my cover. This guy does end up chasing. Slide out with good centering. Get that kill immediately. Don't worry about looting. There's 2 more guys here. I'm using this guy's audio cues. I'm going to back it up. All right, so we killed this guy in here. There was a guy back there. They were really close to each other, right? So what is this guy back here going to think? He's going to try and third party. He heard gunshots. He's going to, like, anybody that hears gunshots and then somebody die, they're going to try and third party. And so do I want to run in here and loot this guy? No. Immediately get out of the gunfight. Put on plates. Listen. I use the audio cues and I time up my slide. Use his audio cues, slide out with centering, get the kill, spin in circles, get inside, right? Because we know there's another guy up there. Now, does he jump down? I don't think he does. But the point is I like to think of it like playing really tight, like just being really, I don't even know how to explain this. It's sort of just a feeling where it's like, I know there's a lot going on. I need to play as close to my cover and as like defensive as I possibly can while still trying to get the kills. That's not a great explanation, but bear with me here. All right. So pick up a UAV, get some plates. Now we're on the hunt. Now we're on the hunt. I knew that there was a guy up here, and so I don't want to just like drive straight up through this guy because I might get C4'd, I might get RPG'd. Those were the things that I was thinking about because realistically, the best path for me to get to the supply run right now is to drive up the hill and then drive over the hill down. But because I knew there was a guy up here, I didn't want to risk it. I don't have a trophy, even though there was one back there that I did think about picking up. I didn't want to just drive straight through and get lasered or C4'd or RPG'd. So you're kind of going to see me go super wide around this. By the way, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Been getting a lot of comments about the coaching program that will be coming back. It's just on pause right now. Okay, so as we're pulling up here, I want to point out, I know that I saw this guy, but I don't know if you guys will be able to see him. He's You're not going to be able to see this on YouTube, but this guy's running right here. You can see him. Just pay attention to right here. He's going to pop up on the right side of this tank. It's going to be a Terminator skin. See? And, dude, I don't know what it is, but every time I come to this, every time I get a supply run at this, I'm never able to complete the supply run. I don't know what it is. Every time I come over here and do the supply run, someone disables my car. Every time. So I see that guy right there. I know he's going to try and snipe me. I just try to be a hard target. Honestly, an ego play out of me. Because I know my car's weak, I start to veer off to the right because I don't want to get stuck out in the middle of the open, right? Like we back up. If I get disabled right here, it's a lot worse than me getting disabled to the right, right? Because we got a sweat, possibly. It's a Terminator skin. So I immediately turn off, create some space, give myself access to cover. Okay, what did we talk about earlier? What did we talk about earlier? Two things, actually. Which one do I want to talk about first? Okay, so we know that from this guy's POV, he can't see us anymore, right? That is a little bit of an information advantage. But we also can't see him. So the last place I saw him was on that tank, right? I don't want to re-peek from the same angle because I know he saw me go through there. So right now what I'm thinking is I want to try and reposition, hit this from a different angle, and I also want to make sure this guy doesn't push me, right? Like, I know he's on the truck, but he just disabled my car. If he's really aggressive and stupid, like something I would do probably is push across here. So I'm like, all right, Terminator skin, could be sweaty. I'm going to burn my UAV. This isn't the best use of my UAV here, but a lot of times when I'm in a sweat gunfight, I'll use that UAV for an extra 5 to 10% advantage in the fight, right? Because that could be the difference between me winning the game and me losing the game. Because at this point, if I die, I'm out. So, mistake number 5 or 6, I've kind of lost track here. Is like, yes, I preach all the time about using the UAV effectively, right? Like we're using the green ping to know where one player is. We're using our danger ping here to know where another player is. But also, sometimes you have to burn the UAV when you're playing against a good player because you need that information sometimes to beat them, right? And so that was a defensive measure. If this guy's going to push across, I would have the information. I'd have the cover. He'd be out in the open. I'd be better equipped to punish the mistake. But while we're doing the defensive UAV, we're also at the same time multitasking. I'm gathering the information for later. I also notice, hey, we got one guy here, one guy here. I know this guy's not crossing, but there's a guy close. So we did 4 things here. I green pinged for 1 location. I danger pinged for 2 more players. I eliminated I for sure know that there's no threat pushing me. And now I know there's a guy that I can kill close. He's also ghosted, which could mean he has specialist. So, multitasking, there's a lot going on there. All that is to say is just to try to use your UAV for as much as you possibly can. I'm not expecting you guys to do this. This is stuff that's going to come with time. It's going to come with practice. But let's move on to this gunfight. So, if you look up at the minimap here, what do you notice? This guy's on our level. I'm still getting a lot of comments, and this is for anybody that knows Warzone, is experienced with Warzone. You'd be so surprised how many people don't know like very obvious things. So, if you don't know, this means a guy is on your level. This means the guy is above you. This means the guy is below you, right? Like these are what your dots look like on the minimap. Because this dot has no arrow, I know that this guy is on my level. What is on my level? The second floor of this house. So it's the same situation as earlier, where like at this house, the only place this guy could be on my level is in that window.
Switching mags.
All right, get out of that fight. We immediately go back to collecting information. Now I know there's guys up here. I obviously have the information over here, but I'm looking to do this big game bounty.
UAV returning to tank.
Loot up a little bit. I didn't think I had a gas mask at this point, even though I did. And from this point, I was thinking about getting the car. I don't actually remember if I grabbed the car here. I think I do. I think I do grab the car here. Because I know that I want to get that big game bounty. I need the car to do that. One little piece of information I want to point out. Oh, I can't back up. But we did just see on the big map, we saw a car get out. For whatever reason, sometimes this thing doesn't let me skip ahead or back up or skip forward. So, all right. Mistake number, let's say mistake number 7 is you're not using your UAV to complete objectives. So a lot of people, like I said, their default mode, the base way they think about UAVs is I'm going to pop the UAV and I'm going to figure out where one guy is and I'm maybe going to kill him, right? I need you to move from popping UAV to know where one person is to popping UAV to do as many things as possible, gathering information, getting kills, completing objectives. I love to, in the late game on Battle Royale in Verdansk, use the UAV to complete a contract, especially a big game bounty, because using the UAV to kill the big game bounty is going to give me an advanced UAV. And so I'm chaining together all of these things, right? Like we haven't done a great job of doing contracts. We've tried to do them, but we haven't done a great job of completing them. And so one way to continue to scale, to snowball, to keep our cash flow going is to use the UAV to do an objective, not just kills, not just figure out where a guy is, use it to get another advanced UAV, right? The big game bounty is going to be a good player, so I want a UAV for that. And then once I complete the big game bounty, it's going to give us an advanced UAV. I'm starting to lose my voice here. I honestly thought about popping the UAV here because I was like, we're on the edge of the zone. There's a decent chance, right? Like there's a decent chance there's people here. If I had money for 2 UAVs, I probably would have popped this just to make sure that I get it safely. Like that is how important these big game bounties are to me. Is like I'm so willing to burn everything. I'm willing to drive all the way across the map for it because it's so much money. You get a good player out of the game that's, you know, you're going to have to compete with at the end, and you get an advanced UAV. Like, and I say all of that because it's very important in this fight. So we know that the big game bounty is going to be a good player. I see that this good/sweaty player is on the outside of the zone. So I have an option in my head. I have 2 options, right? Option A and option B. So option B is I go take this building and hold him, right? Because I know that he's going to eventually have to come to me. Option A is I play very aggressive when he knows I'm coming, right? And so if this was just a normal bounty or if this was earlier in the game, I would probably just drive straight at this, get out and, you know, work him down, take his power position, kill him. But because I know it's a good player, I have to play a little bit more strategic. I can't just like full run at this and, you know, just aura diff and skill diff, right? I have my UAV. We have the information. If I just put myself in a good position and then pop my UAV, this guy's basically screwed, right? Because we can just zone hold this guy. So option B is the smarter decision here. Because now I have a piece of cover. He has to come through me for the piece of cover, and I have the information to punish it. So, real quick, want to point out, sometimes the UAVs are a little deceptive. Like, where I'm at in this garage is, like, a little bit elevated compared to where he's at. And so it might not make sense why he's on the second floor, but you're going to see him in the second floor. It's because the garage is a little bit more elevated.
Fly over.
I shoulder real quick to try and confirm. I see him again on that shoulder. And now I just strafe out, like, right, I know where he's at, right? He probably saw me get out here. He's pre-aiming one of these angles. And so you're literally going to see me strafe out to the left here and immediately just start firing. I almost hit, I might even hit the wall with my first bullet here. It's because I know this guy's here. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the kill. But now we've pushed him where? We've pushed him outside of the building. So I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to pay attention to this. Because I have the information, right? I'm just using that information, staring at my minimap because I know eventually he's going to have to move, right? And he knows that too. So watch this next ping. He moves. Now he's all the way outside the building, and there's like a smoke tower here. And so now I know this guy's on the move because he knows he's screwed. I don't want to let him get too wide left, because if I let him get too wide left, this is going to get hairy. So what I'm really worried about here is, let me change colors. I'm worried about this guy getting behind the other garage. I thought what he was doing here was making a run for that garage, and that's why I chowed this so aggressively. Had I known he was behind the smokestack, I probably wouldn't have done this, right? Like, I'm worried about him doing this. Actually made a smart play here, but I just out-aim him here. Slide out aggressively. I was trying to prevent him from going left. I get the knock. I immediately pull out my knife, get aggressive, get good timing, get the kill. We're on to the next thing. Ends up giving me a UAV. We're looking for the next kill here, right? I used the UAV to kill a good player, to get more cash, and to give myself an advanced UAV. That's why they're so important. Okay, so this guy definitely just heard me get out of a gunfight, right? That guy definitely just heard me get out of a gunfight. I don't know, I don't know what he knows. I don't know if he sees me. I don't know if he saw me. So I'm playing this a little bit more passive. Also, I know that, again, this guy has to come to me. We talked about multitasking. I'm always trying to soak up as much information, especially when I do a big game bounty, because the big game bounty will tell me where literally everyone is, right? Everyone. So now I know there's people here. We got people bunker, guy up high with ghost. Like, I'm just trying to remember all of this stuff right now, while focusing on this fight in front of me. So I ping where I know the next thing is going to be. Now I'm trying to figure out exactly where this guy is. He's behind the building over here. I get shots, break his plates, well-placed impact grenade, doesn't land. So I use that, knock, that damage, because I know he's going to have to plate up. I use that as an opportunity to get aggressive, to put myself in a good power position to punish him, right? Like, I don't want to full send that, because he's probably going to have at least 1 or 2 plates on and could slide out and break my camera. But since I broke his plates, I can use that as an opportunity to move forward to a better position. Get unfortunate timing here. Second I go to hit this, he hits a really nasty dive, to be honest. Like, honestly, not a bad play out of him. But from this point, it's just GG. Even if he was fully plated there, it's just GG. Okay. So, like we talked about earlier, multitasking. Now I know there's players over here. Even though my advanced UAV is gone now, I know there's players over here because I pinged it earlier.
Change your max.
All right. That ping is going to allow me to remember where people are. And I can even tell you, just as an example, like, I can remember there was a guy here, there was a guy here, there was a bunch of red dots on the left of the minimap. We had one guy, like, right here, one here, and then 2 here. Like, I can tell you, I can remember these things, and that just comes from practice, right? But one easy way for you to remember is just to ping things, right?
Buy station here.
So now I'm starting to think about my endgame checklist. We're not in the endgame, but because of the way this zone is set up, I know that I might need to hit my endgame checklist a little bit earlier.
Requesting recon.
Pop a UAV. We see 2 guys in front of us. I actually end up popping an advanced UAV because I have enough cash for it, right? This is why doing contracts is important.
Requesting recon flyover.
So I pop an advanced UAV, I grab my munitions box, I grab my cluster. Most of my endgame checklist. You could say, Berger, you don't have a self-res. I know. I value the cluster and the munitions better. A little bit of trigger discipline here. Miss some shots. Dude, the kilo, especially the 5 attachment kilo, the recoil pattern basically looks like this, right? It's got like it's got one big jump to the left, and then the rest of it is up and to the left. The kilo is a pretty easy gun to control, but if you don't control that first bullet, it can really, really mess you up. And so I missed shots there. Like, that's on me. I'm not making excuses, but that's what happens. Like, look at this first bullet. I shoot 1 bullet, and I go from chest level to above his head, right? So if you're using the kilo, you got to really, really pull down, because that was the difference between me killing this guy here and this fight getting sweaty, which will come into play later as well.
Reloading.
Okay, so because we have the advanced UAV, I have live information on this guy. I don't have to wait for pings. We hear him go ladder. So now he's got high ground. He's got me beat to the ladder. I was originally going to go there, but now he's got it. And so I just slide out with good centering, right? He's got to pop up here, or he's got to pop up here. Get first shots. Flashbang, I'm sorry. I get flashed twice. So when I get flashed, my immediate reaction is to be a hard target. The quickest way to be a hard target for people in this situation, like I want you to put yourself in this guy's shoes. It's really hard to shoot down on top of somebody. If you've ever tried to do it in Warzone, it's really hard to just like shoot directly down on top of somebody. And I also know that this guy, if I play up against this wall, he's going to have to jump off. And so all I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to aura diff. I'm just using my movement. I'm just trying to make things hard enough for him while I'm waiting for the flash to go away. That's all I'm trying to do here is just make him miss a little bit and give myself just enough of an opportunity to win this fight. So I slide up against the wall and immediately slide back out because I know this guy's going to jump off, right? If he's going to jump off, one way for me to throw off his aim and break his camera is to move again because he's going to jump down anticipating me to be below him. I slide down, literally couldn't have paused at a better moment. The reason I moved again was specifically for this reason. Slide out, good centering. Probably won me the fight there. Now, immediately, notice how, like, I just get out of this sweaty gunfight. A lot of you guys would be like, what do I do? What do I do? Loot, 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 plate, sit in a corner. The second I get out of that gunfight, I'm immediately on to the next one. These are like the small differences I want you guys to understand. Like, playing fast is so important because you're just able to catch good timing on people. And so I'm using my UAV. I'm using my advanced UAV to get as much information. Even while I'm checking on this guy, I'm checking the map for, you know, where are players' locations right now. All right, like, I know I'm getting in this gunfight. I know I'm reloading my gun. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to check this, right? So, multitask. Soak up as much as you can. Now, because I have the advanced UAV, all I need to do, like when we fought that sweat earlier, I just need to watch and see what this guy's going to do, right? Like, I can tell he's looking to fight me because he heard shots over here, but he doesn't know the information, right? He doesn't have a UAV up. Doesn't have a red line around my map, so I know he doesn't have the information. I see him, he doesn't see me. I literally just wait here until he strafes out to the right and he's dead. See the dot moving. I wait for him to put himself out in the open. That time I actually controlled my kilos recoil. Get another good play out of the game. The second we get out of that gunfight, I'm pinging the next one. Now, I thought about coming back here for a self-res, but it just would have taken too long. I would have had to buy a self-res and a gas mask. I was just like, it's not worth it. Skip a little bit ahead here. Make a super wide wrap right. But we did, right? We remembered that this guy was here, right? If I backed up, you'd see the red dot went from inside this house to right over here. Want you to pay attention to that. Because, like, this is one of those situations where I'm remembering information from a long time ago. I'm remembering this information while I'm making this rotation up here. Now, the reason I choose to come up here is because I'd rather have this high ground and not need it than be down here and need the high ground. So, if you're wondering endgame position decision making, I come up here because I'd rather have the high ground and not need it than need it and not have it.
Losing ground. Vehicle marked.
So we make a wide wrap. I was thinking about going for the car here because I was like, do I need the car? Do I want to give away my position? I know there's players over here. I know there's guys over here. If I grab the car, I might be able to get up here and claim that territory, right? I was thinking about the car, but I wasn't for sure. And so that's kind of why I pinged it. And you're going to see me just like hesitate. I'm moving around, trying to be a hard target. Just trying to make a decision. Now, while I'm doing that, I'm also remembering that there was a guy that rotated out of that house towards this hill. And so while I'm coming over here, I'm a little bit aware. And bang. Bang. Now, did I know that guy was there? No, but I was at least prepared for it, right? And so I'm just remembering information from earlier. See that guy. Immediately slide to cover.
Reloading.
Get first shots. Track better. I've killed this guy like 4 times this game. Poor guy. Okay, so we're in the endgame phase. The only thing I'm thinking about now is positioning. The only thing I'm thinking about now is positioning. I know that most of the players were here, here, and here-ish, right? And so if I can move fast, I can carve out this spot of the zone for myself. But I wasn't for sure, right? Because that information is kind of old. And so I made a really wide wrap here, and I'm being very cautious because I knew that there was a good chance someone would rotate this way. Or at least that's my worst case scenario, right? So I'm just kind of scanning, making sure I'm playing near trees. I'm ready to throw smoke if I get shot at. Just trying to play as tight as I can, for lack of a better word. Just give myself the best chance. That's why we have the smokes. That's why we have the munitions. That's why we have the cluster, to give ourselves the best chance. Now, in retrospect, this might be a situation where you're like, Berger, why do you not have a UAV here? And, you know, this is one of those 5 to 10% games where I'd rather have a UAV in the end game because it would have helped me. But 95 to 90% of the time, I think the cluster is better. So from here, we're just trying to play safe. We're only playing for positioning. I basically have the 20 bomb locked in. Like, if you get to 18, if you make it to like 16 or 17 kills in the final circles, you're likely to get 2 or 3 kills to win the game, right? Like, you're going to kill at least one guy and probably 2 to 3 to win the game. So from this point, I'm like, I already have the 20 bomb locked in. I just got to win the game. So I slow way down here. And I'm just trying to make sure that I'm safe, figuring out what's behind me. All right, so now the zone is moved. Let's back it up just a second here. This is exactly why I talked about earlier. I'd rather have the high ground and not need it than need it and not have it. So if you're over here, I'm really scared that the zone's going to pull over here somewhere, right? In the next circle. But when I'm here, it's really easy for me to get up and stay on the high ground, right? But I do have to think about the other people that were over here, right? Like, I know there's 2 or 3 over here. I know there's 2 or 3 over here. There's only 3 guys left, but you understand my meaning. So same drill. We're rotating over. I'm even playing as close to the edge of the zone as I can, or the edge of the map as I can, because that essentially, like, if you think about it, it cuts off. I don't have to worry about basically anything to my right. I only need, like, if we divide up the screen, I really only need to worry about what's here as far as where my eyes are and where my centering needs to be. So whenever possible, if you can cut off angles, it's a really good idea, right? Like, I know that there's, for the most part, nobody over here. They can't be over here, right? So the only place I need to worry about is here. Again, when we have a loadout come in, that's a free piece of information, right? Because it'll tell you generally, roughly, where there are people. So when I see one loadout drop here, I'm like, I'm pretty safe over here by myself. At least that's what I'm thinking, right? I see the 1 drop. I also saw two loadout drops go down super deep that way, and that kind of confirmed my information from earlier. So now I know there's 2 super deep, and there isn't 1 super close to me. At least there shouldn't be. So where's the last guy? I don't know, and that's why I'm kind of still moving around, trying to check information. I'm like 99% sure that there's nobody on my left over here, but I don't want to, like, you know, get caught off guard. So
Moving.
all right, so now we're going to talk about, and I hate to do this because I know people get mad when I do this, but I'm gonna spoil the video. I make a mistake here, and I'm going to do something that a lot of creators, a lot of streamers, they're not going to do. They're not going to show you their mistakes. But the reason I want to do this is, 1, to explain how to learn from your mistakes, and 2, just to show you, like, even though I have 18 kills here, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We all mess up. So as I was rotating over here, I see this guy really close. But I know he doesn't see me. At least based on my information, he doesn't see me. This was a surprise to me because there was only 1 loadout drop. I don't know why. Like, that's why I said as a general rule, the loadout drop is going to tell you where people are. But for whatever reason, there's only 1 loadout drop here. So as I'm pushing up, I know this guy doesn't see me, or at least I don't think he sees me. So I use the tree just in case he does look over here to give myself the best chance of being hidden, right? Because I don't want to shoot at that guy unless I have a good opportunity. Okay, bang. Now he's out in the open, right? Free kill. Should absolutely be a free kill here. We talked earlier about I didn't grab my 8 attachment kilo, so I only have the 5 attachment kilo. We also talked about the recoil on the kilo. It's easy to control, but it has one little caveat, right? Like, the first bullet kicks like 3 feet up. And so if you don't control that kick, it can create a situation like we saw over at trains where it was just enough for the guy to get away, and then the fight gets hairy. And this is why, like, when you're in solos or you're in a 1v1, getting the fight over with as soon as possible is always so important. Because the longer a gunfight takes, the more likely you are to run into the chaos, the randomness, the more power you're giving to your opponent, obviously. And so, all that's to say, Berger's trash, missed his shots.
Reloading.
Now, mistake number 2 here is, right, like I get those shots, but I don't have any cover. And so I kind of need to play up here. I do a good job of centering here. When I get close enough, I switch to my SMG, and I have good centering here as well, but I just make a mental mistake. I have the centering, but then I'm like, I assume that he jumped down, right? I just assume that he jumped down. Why would he jump down, right? And so I had the centering, but I messed it up. So that just goes to show everybody makes mistakes. You're even going to hear me yell. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned anything about how to use UAVs, how to use information, how to get information, your audio cues, all that stuff, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one.